Hello and welcome to Expats Everywhere. If you could, tell us your name, where you're from, and a little about yourself.
My name is Rob Troop. I am from Birch Hills, Saskatchewan, Canada, and presently living in Saudi Arabia, and also have lived in Scotland, Taiwan, and traveled to numerous other countries.
Okay, could you tell us what countries have you worked in?
I've worked in Saudi Arabia,
Okay.
Taiwan, Bangladesh, Laos, and Scotland.
Okay, wow, so you have a good mix of countries there. What was it like working in Taiwan?
Taiwan was an adventure. It was really good. I was there for 6 years. 6 years.
And could you tell us, what did you do there?
I worked as an ESL teacher, basically in a bushy band system, which is for small children, starting at 2 or 3 years old and going to maybe 14 or 15.
Okay, and what types of jobs are available for English-speaking expats?
Most of them deal with young children. If you have an actual teaching degree or a master's, you can work at a university, but those jobs are fewer and far between. But there's lots of jobs to work with small children.
And did you know anyone that worked at a job that's outside of the ESL industry?
Yeah, I have friends who work in factories, friends who are translators, friends who've worked in embassies, who make sailboats. A lot of people who have their own businesses, restaurants, bars.
Is it pretty easy for an expat to open up a business?
If you have a Taiwanese partner, you need to have a Taiwanese partner to open up a business.
Okay, interesting. If you could, tell us, what does a typical day look like at work for you in Taiwan?
You wake up at about noon.
Okay.
Wake up at noon, and you get on your scooter or your motorcycle, and you drive to work, and you get to work, and you sing songs for about a half an hour and an hour with small little children. You read stories. You do a little bit of talking, a little bit of speaking, a little bit of activities, and that'll carry on right through to maybe 9 o'clock at night.
Okay. And how much could someone expect to earn at a job like this?
Starting wages for a bushy band teacher is about 600 NT dollars an hour, and that would be about $25 US an hour.
Okay. So how much could someone make in a month, let's say?
It's difficult. Most people who live in Taiwan don't want to work very much.
Okay.
It's a very nice, very relaxed lifestyle. If you work over 20 hours a week, people will be asking you why you work so much. Most people work somewhere between 16 to 20 hours a week. But if you want to do your private lessons, if you want to have morning classes, kindergartens in the morning, you could probably make about $2,500 to $3,000 US a month.
Okay, interesting. Do you think that this is enough money?
It's very cheap to live in Taiwan. I had a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment for about $300 a month.
Wow, okay. And what type of lifestyle can you expect to live?
People would ask me when I was there, how long are you going to stay in Taiwan? And I would say forever. Every day I was happy. Doing something you would do, whether you're riding your motorcycle to work, whether you're playing soccer with your friends, whether you're going through a market, anything. You're always happy.
Very cool. How much can someone expect to save of their salary?
It depends what they do. Things are cheap. Food is cheap. Rent is cheap. If you want to have an active lifestyle, less and less. There's a lot of great countries you can go really close. Thailand, the Philippines, Hong Kong, a lot of places that you can go to travel. And that'll take some of your money. But if you want to just work, you could probably save about $1,500 a month.
$1,500, okay, that's great. So imagine that we have a job there and we're really excited, we've got our plane ticket. What should we do to pack? How should someone pack? What's the weather like?
It's hot and it's muggy, right? Bring good quality clothing from home. The clothing that you get there the quality's not as great. If you want to do any outdoor activities, hiking, if you want to do any sports, make sure you take those. Make sure you take the sport equipment that you need from home. But you can play ice hockey if you want. You can play soccer. You can play rugby. There's many different games you can play. But I would recommend bringing the equipment from home.
Okay, interesting. Well, that actually leads me into my next question. What are some things that you can't find in Taiwan that maybe you should bring from your home country?
Salt and vinegar chips.
Okay.
Supplement entertainment. Specialty food items, any kind of specialty food items. When I first got there, you couldn't find deodorant. Yeah,
Sure.
you just get everyone to bring their deodorant, but there's some of that now. In the last 4 or 5 years, a lot of Western products have gone through Taiwan, so it's pretty easy to find whatever you want.
Okay, and how do people cope without these certain items?
You just sort of make do. You get used to the seaweed chips and the shrimp-flavored puff balls, and the food is good. Taiwanese food is some of the best in the world, I think.
Okay, switching gears a little bit, let's talk about safety. How safe is it there, and did you feel safe on a personal level?
If you should, there's not a lot of rules and things to constrain you. If you don't want to wear a helmet while you're driving a motorcycle, you really don't have to wear a helmet, but you should wear a helmet. If you want to sit in front of a 7-Eleven and drink all night, then get on your scooter and drive home, you can do that, but it's not recommended. So safety is really only a concern if you put yourself in unsafe situations.
Okay, but there aren't any places that you should avoid or situations that might be unsafe?
No, the Taiwanese people are some of the most friendly people in the world. They'll go so far out of their way to help you, and the only thing that they want in return is for you to say nice things about their country.
Okay, awesome. How did you meet people when you were there?
I learned the language. That's the number one thing I recommend that you do. If you move to Taiwan, do everything you can to learn the language. Speak to people. People want to speak to you. They want to speak to you in Chinese. They want to speak to you in English. They want to meet you. It's getting a little more populated now with other foreigners, but if you still go into some of the more rural areas outside of Taipei and outside of Kaohsiung, as a foreigner, you will be brought into many houses. Many people want to get to know you.
Cool. And how did you learn the language? Did you study in an academy?
I spoke to everybody I could. I do language exchanges where you meet with someone and you teach them English for an hour, and then they teach you Chinese for an hour. Mm-hmm. And at the end, I ended up attending a university for my last 2 years.
Okay. What can you do for fun?
Anything you want. Everything in Taiwan is fun. There's a huge expat population where whatever you're interested in, you can do. I've got friends who make movies. I played on a soccer team. There are people who... There's rugby, there's drama, there's art shows, there's a huge foreigner music scene. So there's a lot of things you can do. Whatever you want to do, you can do in Taiwan. Taiwan is the perfect place to reinvent yourself. Very
cool. Which cities did you live in?
I lived, for 1 year, I lived in Kaohsiung, which is the major city in the south. There's 2 major cities. There's Taipei in the north and Kaohsiung in the south. And I spent my first year in Kaohsiung in the south, which is about 1.5 million, 2 million people. And then the last 5 years, I moved to a more rural area, which is Pingdong City, it had about 300,000 people, but it was a huge small town. You would see old men with their ducks, shooing their ducks across the street. Next to my apartment building, there was a rice paddy that still used an ox to plow through the rice paddy. So,
how would you compare the two experiences, the major city and then the smaller?
The city was a lot busier. The pollution was bad in the city. There's a lot of car exhaust, a lot of motorcycle exhaust. Although they now have, they've done a lot of work. They have an MRT system, a subway system in Kaohsiung. There's already one in Taipei. They have the free rent-a-bikes. They've done a lot of work to try to reduce that. But the city is more polluted. It's a lot busier. And however, any night of the week that you want to go out, or any night of the week that you want to do something will be there, and someone will want to do it with you.
Awesome. Well, as you know, expats love to travel. So do you think that Taiwan is a good travel hub?
Yeah, it's you can go to Hong Kong and Bangkok very quickly, and from those 2 places you can really go anywhere. They've opened up flights to China now. You can go to China, Japan, Korea as well. They're all places easily accessible through Taiwan.
Okay. Well, lastly, if you could tell us how you feel about some of the pros and cons of living there.
The cons. If you've ever seen the cartoon Pinocchio, right? And you see the boys, they go off to that island and they drink beer and they play pool and they have an amazing time, and then suddenly they turn into donkeys. That's what I feel sometimes Taiwan can be like. You go there, you have a great time, you meet a lot of people, and then one day you wake up and you have a donkey tail.
Okay.
Yeah. It's very easy to go there and never leave. I've got lots of friends who went there for 1 year, 6 months, and they've been there 10, 15, 20 years.
Now, is this a pro or a con?
Depends. Depends how you are. Depends what you like. For myself, I found that after 5 or 6 years, it was very difficult to go to that next level career-wise and financially. You hit the ceiling very quick. Like I said, my starting salary was 600 NT an hour, and within a year I was making 700, 750, and then I just didn't go beyond that. You can get bonuses, you can find other little jobs, but the actual job, you kind of hit that ceiling very quickly. So unless you want to get married, have a family, and establish yourself into the Taiwanese community, after 5 or 6 years, it's very difficult to progress.
Okay, so what are some pros for you?
The people, like I say, the quality of life, right? The quality of life is probably the best I've ever been in all the countries that I've been to.
Okay, very cool. Listen, Rob, we really appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us on Expats Everywhere.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Best of luck in the future.